Post editor says journalistic rigor helped reporters see through story. A view of the Washington Post's The Newsroom in Washington, D.C. on August 5, 2013. REUTERSStelios Varias A woman who approached the Washington Post with a false tale of a UAL liaison with Senate candidate Roy Moore was working for an organization that seeks to discredit journalists, the Post reported. Reporting by the Post has upended an Alabama Senate race that Mr. Moore, a conservative former judge, was an overwhelming favorite to win. After the Post reported that Mr. Moore allegedly engaged in UAL misconduct with a 14-year-old and made advances on 2 other teenage girls when he was in his 30s, multiple women have accused Mr. Moore of past UAL misconduct. Mr. Moore has strenuously denied the allegations, saying in a statement that "I have never engaged in UAL misconduct." He has slammed the Post's reporting as false, and his wife Kayla Moore has said the paper prints whatever anyone says without even checking to see if it is correct. That does not appear to have been the case when a woman approached Post reporters with a story of having been impregnated by Mr. Moore when she was 15 years old. The woman, who gave her name as Jamie Phillips, said Mr. Moore had encouraged her to get an abortion after, a significant claim given his status as a devout Christian and a social conservative. She also sought assurances that publishing her story would ensure Mr. Moore lost the election, according to the Post. But skeptical Post reporters uncovered discrepancies in Ms. Phillips' account, including a GoFundMe page for someone of the same name seeking money for a move to New York so she could work in the conservative media movement to combat the lies and deceit sick of the liberal main media. That page helped convince Post reporters that Ms. Phillips was in fact working for Project Veritas, an organization that seeks to expose what it calls media bias with undercover recordings of interactions with journalists and left-leaning groups. A reporter challenged Ms. Phillips in a subsequent meeting, and an editor with a conservative outlet she claimed to have been referencing in the GoFundMe posting, the Daily Caller, said there was no record of her having interviewed there. Roy Moore says he doesn't generally remember dating teenage girls while in his 30s. Journalists also saw Ms. Phillips entering Project Veritas' New York office. The organization's founder, James O'Keefe, declined to answer questions from Post reporters. The episode prompted the Post to take the unusual move of reporting on a conversation that was off the record. Post executive editor Martin Barron justified the move by saying that Ms. Phillips had not sought an off-the-record talk in good faith. This so-called off-the-record conversation was the essence of a scheme to deceive and embarrass us, Mr. Barron said in a statement. The intent by Project Veritas clearly was to publicize the conversation if we fell for the trap. Because of our customary journalistic rigor, we weren't fooled, and we can't honor an off-the-record agreement that was solicited in maliciously bad faith. Despite a series of allegations of inappropriate UAL or social conduct towards women, including 3 who were aged 14 to 28, Donald Trump has continued to express support for Mr. Moore. More about Roy Moore. Washington Post reuse content. We use cookies to enhance your visit to our site and to bring you advertisements that might interest you. Read our privacy and cookie policies to find out more.